Now it should work. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Franz's Real Estate Facts, episode 4. Means that I have been doing this now for a whole month, which is awesome. And today I have with me the amazing and extremely competent and fun person to talk to, Karen Buelterman, who is a mortgage broker with Arbor Financial. And a lot of times, you know, real estate agents talk about, well, mortgage brokers are important to buyers because get a pre-approval and, you need a pre-approval before you buy a house, which is true, right, Karen? That's
Yeah,
true. You need a pre.
absolutely.
Okay. But on the other hand, the other piece to this is that listing agents also benefit from having solid relationships with mortgage brokers. So, what we're going to talk about today is why your listing agent needs to have a good relationship with a mortgage broker and how having a solid relationship with a mortgage broker can help you sell your home faster and also sell your home for more money.
Absolutely.
So, Karen, why don't you first off tell us a little bit about yourself and who you are and how I know you and how you
Great.
know me and all
Yeah.
that sort of great stuff.
No, I'd love to. I'd love to. So I'm Karen Buelterman with Arbor Financial Group. I've been doing loans, mortgage loans for 20 years now. And I am with the brokerage house. And I met Frantz through a networking group and we hit it off from the very beginning. And we've been friends and we've been business partners and working together for, gosh, over a year now, I think, right?
Yeah, it's been a while. It was definitely pre-pandemic.
Yes, it was when we were able to hug each other and meet in person. So absolutely.
Exactly. So that's awesome. And so let's talk a little bit about, listing a house and what happens, right? So when I list a house, the house goes on the market, buyers look at it, they decide they want to put in offers, they get a pre-approval. They submit their offer with a pre-approval, and then I look at that pre-approval and I'm like, this is a letter, I guess, and it says things on it. But what can you actually do with the pre-approval, Karen? So if I talk to you and I say, hey, Karen, I got this buyer. They look really awesome. I have this pre-approval. Can you help me? What help can you provide me?
No, that's actually a really good question. And it's very important, especially right now when the market is so competitive. So what I can help do is I can look at that buyer's documents and I can actually do my own pre-approval. So when I look at someone's documents, I look at their income, their assets, their credit, and I make sure that this loan is a go. So you can feel confident that you can tell your sellers, yes, this is a really good offer. Let's go with this one. And it's just a second set of eyes to make
Mm,
sure that this buyer is a qualified buyer, because a lot of loan officers, unfortunately, out there just take a client's word for it of what their income is, what their credit score is, what kind of debt they have. So, and then they just
mm,
offer, it's called a qualification letter, and it's not
mm,
actually a pre-approval. So I can ferret that out very quickly. And then if I
mm,
have any questions, I can reach out to the actual borrower or the loan officer. And I'm saying, hey, I have a question on this. This isn't adding up. Where did you get your numbers, or where actually their funds going to be coming from? Because I don't have enough funds here. So then I can talk to the loan officer and make sure for the listing agent that this is actually going to go.
right. And that's really important in this market because, you know, even though we talk about inventory shortages and all of that, but first of all, buy or sellers need another place to live, right? So sometimes there's a contingency where they put in an offer on a house themselves, and so
Yes.
then this kind of being screwed up screws up the seller's new purchase. So
Yes.
that's really important, and it's also really important because if we get say 3 or 4 offers on a property, I know this. The loan contingency is 21 days, right? And usually when a loan blows up, it doesn't blow up on day one, right? It blows up on day 20.
Right. at the
It's
very
like,
last minute, you're thinking, oh my gosh, what happened?
yeah, and by day 20, those three or four borrowers or buyers who are super interested in the property might have found something else, or they might be like, yeah, well, it fell out of escrow, maybe something's wrong, and they'll offer a lower price or whatever. So you can really help me just like figure out, okay, this is a go, this is going to go as a loan, and you have nothing to worry about. Um, you have nothing to worry about when you get this buyer.
Exactly, exactly. Especially in this marketplace when you have not three or four, but you could have 20 to 30 offers come through. So you're saying, Karen, help me out here. Let me look over the documentation. Let's see if they actually can qualify. And I could actually go through each and individual one and say, you know what, these guys are not who they portrayed themselves to be.
Mm.
They actually didn't even run the credit. So, then you can ferret out all the bad offers and go with the good and then make the decision with the seller. So it's a team effort, and working with a good team that you trust and that they're going to do the job to help. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's really important. That's awesome. And you've definitely done that for me before, which I really appreciate. And then the last thing that I know, and you can also kind of talk about that as well, is that I've worked with you on the buying side too, and obviously, when you do a pre-approval letter for me, if the buyer can afford $1 million house and they're putting in an offer on a $500,000 or $600,000 house, you tailor the letter to be 600,000, right?
Yes, absolutely. Well, when you
And
do, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh no, go ahead.
I was just going to say, when you do a pre-approval letter and they, like you said, they can afford a million, you don't want to show that hand to the listing agent or the seller, right? So it works both ways, but at the same time, you want to make sure that they don't show their hand, and that they not only show their hand, but they are qualified for that as well. So, and you know what? A lot of people right now don't want to buy the max. They want a max payment. So they can afford a million, but they only want to put in a $600,000 offer, and that's all they want to pay each month.
Right. But I think that what that does for me as a listing agent, because obviously, that happens, is if you look at it, you've got a second set of eyes, you can say, hey, these people can actually afford a lot more than the 600,000. And so that puts me in a better position to negotiate on the seller's behalf. I know, hey, you put in an offer for 600,000, but you can afford a million. I can say, okay, either the seller wants more money, or you're going to have to do something in order to get the seller to do whatever you want the seller to do, either fix something or whatever, because I can see your hand, right? So if I'm just relying on the um, pre-approval letter, then the pre-approval letter says what it says. But if you can actually look at the documents and cross-qualify these people, then I have a much better sense of what their hand is. And I think a lot of listing agents, I mean, I've seen a lot of listing agents, they just don't do that, and they're not fully aware of what's going on.
Yeah. And you know what, Franz, I got to say that you are one of the expert negotiators I've ever met. You can ferret out that information, and you can go back to the seller or the buyer or the buyer's agent and say, hey, let's negotiate this to make everybody happy. But you are the advocate for the seller, and you do so well. You do really, really well, not only negotiating, but making sure that your clients are taken care of. So I got to commend you for that.
Oh yeah, thank you. And I have to say, like, this is actually not what I said about, being able to afford more is actually not um it's not theoretical. I actually had a listing, and the buyers qualified for one type of financing, and it gave them a certain purchase price. And it turned out that the house didn't qualify for that kind of financing. And I was able to, because the buyers did say they were interested, and also because the buyers actually waived a lot of their contingencies, as part of the upfront negotiation process, what I was able to say is, hey, you're not going to get your deposit back. You can get this particular type of financing. It's going to be a higher payment, but you do qualify for it. And I knew that because I had done cross qualification, had seen what are their assets, what are they actually able to do. And
Yes.
so that helped me be a stronger negotiator and a much better advocate for the seller, which means that the seller was actually able to get, um, about twice as much as what anybody else was offering on the property.
I remember that transaction,
Yeah.
and it was a tough one, but again, I have to commend you. You stuck with it. You did your due diligence. You went to several of your team members, and you found out that, yeah, they can do something else and they can do it. So there's no excuse for these folks to be able to pull out, because starting all over again can be rough on the seller and yourself. And again, you were looking out for your seller, and it went through. So it's an awesome process.
Yeah, it's really an awesome process. And you did help me throughout the process, and you gave me some good suggestions, which was great. And I definitely, and this too, like I really do like working on the deals that require a little bit more work and require a little bit more thought, a little bit more strategic thinking. If the house is just kind of going to come off the market and goes on the market, the buyer comes in, and then it's just a smooth transaction,
Mhm.
that's great. And I love those kinds of deals too, but that's not really where my value, or just the value of having a team like mine, comes in. I have a team with people who are experts, right? And you title people who are experts. I've just got a lot of just really, really well qualified people. And working with experts it's a it's different from just working with a random person or working with somebody who's not an expert.
Right.
And
Right. A lot of agents just go for the low hanging fruit, right? But you go
mhm,
after, someone that you feel comfortable with and saying, "Hey, I can help you sell this house," and you do. It's
yeah,
amazing what you have done.
yeah, absolutely. And definitely when I say, yeah, I can do that, I have a team, I know how to work with experts, I can help my clients figure out the vision, figure out what they want to accomplish, and then figure out with all of my expertise. I'm a lawyer, I'm a real estate broker, I have a degree in neuroscience, I've got all sorts of things, all sorts of pieces, and
Yes.
I can put all of those pieces together and say, okay, this is the roadmap, this is how we're going to go, here are the things that might go wrong, here's how we're going to address these things that might go wrong. And really, I mean, it's just really a different level of service that I provide and also that you provide. It's just, there's people who go after low hanging fruit, and that's great. And if that's what you want, I think it's great. But if you want somebody who, when it looks like it's low hanging fruit, but the tree branch shoots up, right, and you got to figure out how to get there, I'm the person who can figure out how to get there when the low hanging fruit is actually not that low hanging, or as low hanging as you thought it was.
I will attest to that. I've seen it over and over again. You've
Yeah.
helped some clients, that difficult clients too. On the buyer side, we worked with a couple deals that were very difficult, but you know what? You hung in there and you figured it out and you made it happen. So that's what it's all about. We're here to help our customers make sure that they're happy and get what they want.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, just I think this was a really helpful conversation, really talking about how having a good team, even a mortgage broker on the listing side, is absolutely critical as a real estate agent. It's just, we're fiduciary. As a real estate agent, I'm a fiduciary. I'm there to represent my client's best interest, and I can't do that when I don't have the proper experts on my team. You're definitely one of those good experts that I trust. I trust your judgment. I trust what you have to say. I trust your suggestions, and we've built a really good, solid working relationship. And I gotta say, I know this because I worked with you. Like, random agent calls you and says, "Hey, Karen, will you cross qualify this pre-approval?" That might not happen,
Yeah,
right? It's got to
yeah,
be, especially in this market where you're so busy, it's got to be somebody that you know and have a relationship with and understand that you're doing that and you're really providing value for them. So
absolutely.
I
And I
value this relationship. I appreciate that we can do that.
yes, sir. I was just going to say that I value
And
it
you were
as
going to
well.
say the same thing.
Was. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's all about the synchronicity and the team and the knowledge and the expertise. It's all about that, especially right now. It's too competitive not to have that.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for taking the time and chatting with us.
Thank you.
If anybody wants to get a hold of you, how can they do that?
My phone number is 619-972-5507 or Karen B at arborfg.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And obviously, I am Franz Farreau. My phone number is on the screen right here. And if you want to get a hold of me, you can also send me a Facebook message or send me a message at my email address, which is realtorfranz, Franz with a T, at gmail.com. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next week when I am sure, bring in another one of my expert team members who can talk about how they can add value to your life as a real estate client.
Take care. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.